John Crimaldi. I live here at Whitney Beach, mostly because I have access to the water for my rowing shell, which I use pretty much every day. And I have another one up in New Hampshire, in Rye, New Hampshire, where I live in the summertime. I've been rowing about 30 years, 35 years. I don't remember stuff like that much anymore. I've had numerous boats. This is probably the fifth one, and I have another one in mind, which is a little more performance boat. I'm very comfortable on the water. I've always been lived on the water, and I remember when I was a lifeguard as a kid, we used to row the guard boat out through the waves, and I suppose right now I row because it's not any impact the way tennis and even golf, and it's a very, very good sport for older guys because I can go out for hours and row at a slow pace, maybe 21 to 23 strokes per minute, and I can do that for a long time. Or I can pump it up to a little more than that and work up a sweat. The difference between a rowboat, which you call this at first, or a shell, rowing shell, or a kayak. A rowboat is simply a boat that you sit facing back and row. They're usually much wider and much more stable and slow. A kayak, you don't row at all. You face forward and you paddle with one paddle. And usually they can be very fast depending upon the waterline length. If you don't have a mirror, you're constantly looking around to see where you're going, and it's quite easy to row into a pole or a marker buoy or another boat. And with the mirror, I can constantly see where I'm going without turning around, and I like it. It's the way to go. I suppose they sell stuff like this, but I just added one of my bicycle mirrors to a pair of sunglasses. I use it also when I'm biking because it's a good mirror to have on a bike. I am considering several rowing events. Hopefully they have over 80 categories where I might be the only one. I don't normally compete. No, as I said, it's just kind of a way to get back in touch with yourself on the water where I'm very comfortable after tennis or after golf or before. And they're nice places to row out here. They're islands, and of course the big thing is the porpoise or the dolphin, which I see every day, and they very often are feeding in frenzy. And I row right up into them, and they throw fish up in the air, and they smell terribly because they eat fish all the time. Up in New Hampshire, I row out of the harbor out into a little bit of the Atlantic and up the Piscataqua River and around an island called Newcastle and back, which takes a while, an hour and a half or so. And because of the lobster boats and the river traffic, it's a little, you have to keep your eyes open because they make a big wake and they can very easily swamp the boat. So other than that, it's pretty routine. Well, one time a marine police boat called out on their electronic hailer, bring it alongside, Captain, and I couldn't imagine they were talking to me. So I ignored them and kept rowing, and they eventually cut me off and came in close and pulled me in with a boat hook and demanded to see some identification. I assumed that they had been sent after me by someone I knew, and it was just a prank, so I treated it that way. And eventually they gave me a ticket, and they handed the book down, and with the ticket in it, I made sure I missed it and it fell into the water, and I retrieved it and asked them if there was somewhere they wanted me to sign, but it cost $65 for a ticket for not having the proper flotation life jacket, which I now carry all the time. Other than that, I can't recall anything bad that's ever happened on the water. Well, why people should get into this activity, I would say, mostly it's because, as I said, there's no impact like skiing, which I do, and tennis and golf. and it does give you time to get your thoughts together. And if it would mean anything to anyone, it's very easy to get into this. You just try out a boat and see what you like, buy one, and in a couple of days you're quite proficient. And I know a lot of people that do it all the time. It's a solitary thing for the most part, but not always. Well, I was kind of talked into this interview by um, uh, someone who told me that it would be perhaps inspirational to some people my age, and I suppose that's true. A lot of people don't do much. They seem to hang around. They watch a lot of television, and I don't have that kind of lifestyle. As I think I've mentioned, I play tennis every day, and usually golf 3 or 4 times a week, and row the boat pretty much every day. And since I'm retired and I have time, it seems to me, why not? So I would say it's a great thing to do, and I would certainly encourage anyone to do it, or even have them come up and take a turn in my boat if they wanted to take a look at it.